We are back here again, just kind of talk to some things that are on our mind. And I'm Charlie, and of course, I've got local theologian and Bible expert Mark Powell Freeman here with us.
I thought you said you were going to come up with something new.
I didn't say I was coming up with something new. I'm just saying we're going to talk about it every week. That you are. I don't think I've ever referred to you as a local theologian, have I? Bible expert.
Whatever you're making up. Hey, Charlie, how are you, man?
It's too much. So we've been in the series, and what's the name of the series? Because you're really good at this. What's the name of the series that we're in?
It's like 20 syllables.
I know, right? What's it called?
The Conversationalist. 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 Yes.
When you accidentally said it right the first time, and then you corrected yourself and said it wrong the second time. That was really good. So you got Jesus here, and every one of these stories is crazy different. I mean, his demeanor, his attitude, the topic that he brings up, and it's often like, it's really cool. Like, he doesn't really let them set the topic, which is a very Jesus thing. They try to set the topic, and now we're talking about this. And so he's really different, has all of these different skills, is great at being a conversationalist and getting at the heart of the matter and really just kind of being who this situation needs to be. And so one of the things we've talked about is, to use this as an inspiration for who we can be when God puts people in our lives. Always the challenge when Jesus becomes the example. Hey, here's a story about Jesus. You should be like Jesus. I mean, like, yikes. Yeah. Like Jesus was the Son of God and just incredible and perfect. And sometimes that can be a little intimidating. I mean, if I ran into Zacchaeus or the rich young ruler or any of these people, maybe on a scale of 1, I could do 20% of that. Right?
Especially not knowing them.
And
he knows everything.
Yeah, so then we can dismiss it. Okay, well, I can't be Jesus. I learned about Jesus, high five Jesus, but I'm still me. Well, not that. What can we do? If it's like, okay, I'm inspired by Jesus. I can't exactly completely imitate him, but I'm inspired by him, and I want to love on the people that God is putting in my life who need God. What are some practical things I can do?
This is something that's just really challenging to me, but I don't think gets talked about enough. That one thing that was said of Jesus is that he was a friend of sinners, and friendship is something that maybe we don't really understand that well, being able to be a true friend, but especially when it comes to people who are maybe outside the circle. A lot of times those people become them and some kind of project or some kind of, hey, let's come up with some kind of fancy strategy, or hey, you're supposed to talk in this certain way, or here's the certain 5-point thing that you're supposed to whatever. And it seems like the model that Jesus, he definitely is having conversations and talking about the kingdom, but he was accused of, called a friend of. So there was something going on that looked like friendship. Right. Which is something that we can do that.
Right. That's really good. That's really good. So, I may not be an evangelist. I may not be a great conversationalist, but I can be a friend.
I can be a true friend, yeah.
Yeah. And that's what people need. Mm-hmm. So, but then there becomes this pressure, I think, that people feel. It's like, okay, I've got this friendship. Well, how do I get it from friendship to that next level of where it's like I feel like I'm making a difference in their life for God? Not that friendship doesn't. I don't hear me say that. Just friendship from a godly person can make a huge difference in somebody's life. Right. Is there a next step?
Yeah. There's a huge piece of just modeling that I don't know that we realize how much of a difference that makes. Just that we follow Jesus and that what that looks like, and all of the confidence and peace and joy and life in the midst of sorrows and hardship, the way that he is there and what that looks like, the power of that modeling. But then also, man, I think, as we've gotten to know each other more, we got some history, but especially since I moved up here, we've started, our friendship has meant sharing, what matters to me. Right. So now you know some things that are important to me, that, for me not to share those things would be me holding back friendship. Right. So talking about Jesus and talking about these things that, you know, that he's teaching me, or that, you know, just become, should just kind of be natural.
Right.
And a part of me revealing to you, hey, this is who I am. Let's get to know one another.
That's really good.
If you're going to know me, you got to know that I am passionately in love with Jesus. And if I'm not saying that, and I'm not talking about that a little bit, then is it even true? I mean, if I'm not revealing that, holding that back, then I'm holding back friendship from you, you know?
That's good. I've also been thinking about this a lot lately, in this context and other contexts. It's just the power of the question, how are you doing? I mean, it's a very casual question in some circles and in some people's lives, but hey man, how you doing? And Mark, how are you doing? And I've built enough of a friendship to where you can trust me to give next level answers to that question. Like, I'm going to create environments, have you over for dinner, we'll go out to lunch, go out for coffee or whatever, and put you in a situation where I know you well enough, and now I'm in a situation where I can ask that question, and that there's time and space for you to really give the answer. And people need that. And then something's going to come out of that person's mouth at some point. And that at that point, I really believe God shows up. And if you feel like I'm scared of what I would say, I mean, I think God shows up and will help you. But those people need God, you know?
Yeah, and when you're close enough that you know, hey, this is already going on in your life, man, that must be really tough. You know, how are you feeling about that thing, that you know them well enough? I mean, how many people do most people have in their life, especially if they're not connected to a church or to a group of people, a community that cares? How many people do they have each week that would even care enough to ask a question like that? You know, most people don't.
Yeah, beyond just passing in the hallway.
Because that's what's
hey man, is your wife feeling any better?
No. Yeah.
And you got 2 seconds. You got 2 seconds to answer that question with no real follow up. But like, I'm going to intentionally create space to find out how you're doing, and then in subtle ways and sometimes in more direct ways, kind of direct them towards the God answer to what's going on. And honestly, I think some churches overemphasize this. I think some people underemphasize just the power of a church invite. You know, I would love for you to come with me to my church. I like my church. God's doing some stuff in my life. I would love for you to be a part of that. It sounds weird because as you add church to it, because it's church, but when we do this with restaurants and sporting events and everything that we enjoy. Hey, my wife and I, we went to this really great Italian restaurant the other day. You should totally try it out. We do this casually all the time. Hey, God's really done something really cool in my life at this church. You should come with me. I mean, am I wrong? That's not awkward, is it?
No, especially if it's true. You know, there's just so much that if you feel obligated to that, or if that's just what you're supposed to do, or if that is like, hey, you know, you should come to church with me because this is this thing that we're supposed to do. That's way different than, man, I'm experiencing something here that's life-giving to me, and I would love it if you come with. And you can pick up whether somebody's trying to sell you something, or whether I'm afraid to use that phrase, whether they're actually smoking what they're selling, right? You didn't think I'd do it, did you?
Do we need to analyze the etymology of that particular phrase? And
no, but you get the point. Like, if they really believe
hold on, I'm distracted.
They're inviting you because
I think I get the point of that.
They're bought in, you know? Yeah.
I'm not trying to sell you something that I'm not
personally experiencing.
Okay. Gotcha.
There you go.
Gotcha.
There you go. That's a better way to say it, probably.
Perfect. No, I'm just trying
glad you gave that.
Understand your metaphor a little bit. And I think a couple things with our church. One is, I think we really are designed on Sunday morning to accept your friend. I mean, you're not ever going to come out on a weird Sunday. We're always anticipating that every Sunday is somebody's first Sunday, and we're going to do our best to love them, not put them in a bad spot, not talk about anything that should be unsettling to a new person. So we're always expecting a new person. And then I think one of the things I've learned is that the more specific the invite, the better. Hey, would you like to come to church with me sometime? You may get a yes to that, but you're not going to get a visit. Hey, we'll be there this Sunday. We go to the 10:30 service. We can just meet you there. Mm-hmm. And honestly, I found with some people, and this happened to me once when I was in Colorado, invited some guys I work with to come to church to hear me preach, and been at them for a while, and they finally said yes, and they were going to be there that Sunday, and then they didn't. I saw them at work on Monday. I was like, what's going on? And they made it all the way to the parking lot. Mm. They made it all the way to the parking lot and sat in their car, got nervous, and drove off. Mm. And I think that's a bigger obstacle in people's minds, I think, than we realize. And so make the invite like, I'll meet you in the parking lot, or I can come pick you up, and we'll go in together. The more specific and the more personal and the more together the invitation, I think people would be overwhelmingly surprised by the amount of positive response that they get.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. So, and it's just, church on Sunday morning is just something that if you've been doing it for a while, you take for granted. The way that when, the people of God are together, and when we're, singing those worship songs together, and there is a power that's present that, we start to take for granted. And when somebody walks into it, they sense that there's something going on here,
That's good. Well, I really do believe. I believe that you guys have a great opportunity to make a difference around with the people that God's put around you. I mean, none of us, or very few of us anyway, really suffer from, I don't know anybody who needs God. There's nobody in my neighborhood, nobody at my work, nobody at my school. Well, that's not our problem. The problem is we feel like we don't know what to do. And I think, just like Mark said, just simple steps of relationship building, simple steps of friendship, and just a genuine, specific invite. And I think you'll be surprised, pleasantly so, about the impact that God will have through you in the lives of people around you. So we're enjoying this series. Finish it up in the next couple of weeks. I'm glad you guys joined us, and we'll see you soon. Bye.